Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to try and crack the code on longevity by looking into the secrets of the world's longest living communities. So, let's just jump right in. What's the real secret to not just living a long time, but living a better life? Is it all just down to our genes, pure luck? Or are there actual things we can do to add more healthy, happy years to our lives? Well, it turns out the answer isn't some magic pill or a futuristic sci-fi concept. It's a reality right now in a handful of very special places, where hitting 100 isn't some crazy fluke. It's actually pretty common. These folks are often living without any chronic diseases well into their 90s and even beyond. So that brings us to this really incredible investigation. I mean, how did anyone even find these longevity hotspots in the first place? It all started with a simple map and a team of very curious researchers. Okay, so picture this. It's the early 2000s. An explorer named Dan Buettner and his team set out on this mission to find places where people were living not just longer, but really, really well. And as they found these little pockets of incredible health and longevity, they literally just circled them on a map with a blue marker. And just like that, that simple act gave these places their name, the blue zones. Okay, so what exactly is a blue zone? Let's get really clear on this. It's not just a place where a few people live a long time. It's a specific region where the whole population has an unusually high number of people living past 100. And they have just a fraction of the diseases that typically kill people in other parts of the developed world. And this original research led them to five, totally distinct spots on the globe. We're talking about the mountains of Sardinia in Italy, the islands of Okinawa in Japan, the Nicoya Peninsula down in Costa Rica, the Greek island of Icaria, and, get this, a community of Seventh-day Adventists right here in Loma Linda, California. So you have to ask, right? What in the world could a shepherd in Italy possibly have in common with a grandma in Japan or a farmer way out in Costa Rica? That was the million-dollar question for these researchers. After digging in and studying these communities, the team found something pretty mind-blowing. Despite being all over the world, they all shared a specific set of lifestyle habits. It all boiled down to just 9 common principles. And yeah, they gave him a cool name, the Power 9. But what's so amazing about this list is there's nothing extreme here. No crazy diets, no brutal gym routines. It's just simple, everyday stuff woven into how they live their lives, how they move, what they eat, how they connect with each other, and their outlook on life. Let's break it down. All right, let's dig into the food first, because that's what everyone wants to know about, right? The principles are so simple, but so powerful. First, their diets are overwhelmingly plant-based. Meat is more of a special occasion thing, eaten just a few times a month. And beans are a daily staple. They are absolutely packed with fiber and protein, and they give you this slow, steady energy. And then there's this fascinating little trick they have to avoid eating too much. And that 80% rule, there's this perfect example from Okinawa. They have this saying, a 2,500-year-old mantra from Confucius, Hara Hachi Bu. They say it before they eat, and it's just a simple reminder to stop eating when you feel about 80% full. That little 20% gap, well, that can be the difference between gaining weight and staying healthy for a lifetime. Okay, so what about the gym? The sweat sessions, the marathons? Well, in the blue zones, you're not going to find any of that. Instead, movement is just a natural, unavoidable part of their day. They walk everywhere, they have gardens, they do chores by hand. It's constant, low-intensity activity that's just built in. But here's where it gets really interesting. The food and the movement, that's only half the story. The researchers found these, soft secrets, the stuff that's harder to measure, like your mindset, your community, and your ability to rest. And these are just as critical for a long, healthy life. And this is so cool. You've got totally different cultures, miles and miles apart, that have the same core idea. In Okinawa, they call it ikigai. In Costa Rica, it's plan de vida. But it all means the same thing, having a clear reason to get out of bed in the morning. And get this, the researchers estimate that just knowing your sense of purpose can add up to 7 years to your life. Connection, this is a huge one. In the blue zones, people are just woven into these really tight-knit social circles. The researchers called it the right tribe. Family is everything, and almost every single centenarian they studied belonged to some kind of faith-based community. Look, even people who live to be 100 get stressed out. Of course they do. The big difference is they have these built-in, everyday routines to just let it go, to downshift. In Icaria, they take a nap. The Adventists pray. In Sardinia, they do happy hour. These little rituals interrupt stress, which is a major driver of age-related diseases. Okay, so this all sounds amazing, right? And these patterns are just so strong. But, we have to be good scientists here and look at this with a critical eye. It's really important to understand the limits of this research. And this quote right here gets to the heart of it. This is all observational research. That means it shows a powerful connection, a correlation. I love this analogy. A rooster crows when the sun rises, right? But the rooster isn't making the sun rise. Same idea here. These habits are common where people live long, but we can't prove they are the one and only cause. So, what else could be going on here? Well, for one, there is genetics. That could definitely be a piece of the puzzle, especially in some of these really isolated places. Then there's the environment itself, things like clean air. And honestly, it's just really tough to pull one habit out from the rest when people are doing all of them together as part of their culture. So, okay, even with that scientific asterisk, the evidence is overwhelming that these habits are just incredibly good for you. So the real question becomes, what do we do with this? How can you and I actually use this stuff in our own, busy lives? And this is the best part. The whole point of the Blue Zones isn't some crazy radical makeover. It's about small, simple shifts that you can actually stick with. Maybe you take a quick 10-minute walk after dinner, or you add some beans to your lunch a few times this week. Maybe you just set aside 15 minutes to de-stress, or you just call a friend. It's these small choices day after day that create huge results over time. And really, that's the big secret of the Blue Zones, isn't it? It's not about doing something huge and dramatic. It's about the incredible power of small, consistent choices. So the final question for you isn't about doing it all. It's much simpler. What's the one small, life-giving change you're going to choose to make this week?